All right, when we left off, Nick was getting smarter by having me as a teacher, so you have to increase his IQ. So see if you can increase his IQ by 2. All right, so I'm not that great of a teacher, to be honest, so let's see if we can just make it go up by 2. All right, so to do that, you do Adkins IQ, the name of your variable, and then you set it equal to be what it used to be. Okay, and you could set it directly to be 90, but the nice part is if this number were to change, then the code would automatically, this would always increase by 2 no matter what the value was, right? And so just to see how this works again, we can print it out a second time here and just see that his IQ is now 90. All right, so let's create a double variable named, oh geez, what do we want to do? Let's do Dylan's GPA and set it to, he had me as a teacher too, so it can't be that great to be honest. Let's do 3.58. Right, so see if you can create a double variable named Dylan, something like Dylan's GPA, and set it to 3.58. Pause the video and see if you can do that. It'll be very, very similar to this line right here. All right, so we would do the type of variable, double, give it a name, Dylan's GPA, however you want to do that, and set it equal to whatever value. Okay. So that's how you create it and give it a value. So now let's just change his GPA variable to 4.0. Let's say I made a mistake and it's actually 4.0. So see if you can write a line of code that would change it to 4.0. Again, a double variable is one that's a decimal, a non-integer. So see if you can change it. Pause the video and give it a shot. Okay, so we got Dylan's GPA, and I'm just going to set equal to 4.0. Okay, and again, I don't need to do the double again because you only do that the first time. This will create the bucket on the computer, the memory spot for the GPA, and store this value there. And then this just says take whatever is in that bucket and replace it with this new value of 4. All right, and you can set it to 4. You could set it to be, I don't know why you'd want to do this, but you could set it to be Adkins IQ minus 8 or something. Right, you can set it to be anything you want, some sort of formula. You could set it to be like 8 times 4 plus 2 or something like that, right? So you can set it to be really anything you want. Okay, let's do create a string variable. Let's do that next. Okay, so let's do string Westpital's mood. Okay, and I'm actually just going to put a semicolon here with the no equals part. And this is just declaring. So we guess we could change this to declare a string variable, and you don't have to give it a value. And you may be sitting there thinking, Mr. Westpital, doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to make a variable that has no value? And the reason is you might want to set it to be different things depending on a certain situation. All right, and this is going to get a little bit beyond what we've learned at this point, but when you branch your code, it's called an if. Okay, so I'm gonna give an example of that. So like, I'm gonna make one new variable with you called it's like a Boolean variable, and Boolean it can have 2 values, either true or false. Okay, so this is another type that we didn't talk about in the notes, but probably good to do it here. So instead of int or double, I'm gonna start with Boolean, and we're gonna say Nick in class, and we're gonna set that to be true. All right, so this Boolean can either only be true or false. Okay, so that's what a Boolean variable is. It is true or it is not. So there's the type, there's the name, and it can either be either true or false. Anyway, so getting back to my Westpital mood here is we can do if Nick in class equals, well, actually, let's do it like that. So if it's true, if that variable is true, Nick in class, then my mood, Vespertil's mood, I'm going to set that to be a string. So with the string, I'm going to need quote, quote, and I'm going to say happy. If Nick is in class, everything's great, and I'm happy. All right, so I declared it here, and then I'm giving it its value here. Okay, and then we can say an else. So if it's the case that Nick is not in class, then I want to set this to be something different. All right, so now I'm going to do Vespertil's mood equals that, right? Because Nick is not there. So this would be an example of you don't want to give it a value until you know if Nick is going to be in class or not. All right, so you wait for that to be true, and then we give it the value. So we declare it here, and don't give it a value till later. Right, and then we could run our code, system out print Vespertil is feeling, okay, and then do plus. So that'll display the value of this string variable. Okay, so in this case, you can try and guess. If I hit run right now, what do you think should be printed here? Play some Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. Okay, time's up. So hopefully you would say, since it's true, it would set it to be happy, and it would just say Vespertil is feeling happy. Happy. Wonderful. Probably shouldn't be a colon there, but say in English class. All right, so we could just say, if this is false, then it'll run the other part of the code. This is what an if statement is. This is chapter 3, I believe, in the book. Giving a little preview, little extra learning here. So if he's not in class, then the feeling gets set to the value of sad. Okay, so variables definitely can change. They can be set to different things. Okay, so what I want to do to end then today is I'm going to give you a challenge and see if you can do this. This will be kind of a good test to see if we got this lesson or not. So write code using variables to calculate the area of a, I don't know, what should we do? Area of a, let's just try triangle. Okay, and so the formula is area equals 1/2 times base times height. Okay, so think about like what variables you might want to create here, and then how you would assign them values, and then maybe print it out at the end. All right, so pause the video and see if you can make some variables. What might make sense for variables here, and then write out some code, and then print out the area at the end based on the base and the height. All right, so pause and give it a shot. There's no one right answer to this, but I want to see where we're at with this. All right, so here we go. So if I was doing this, I need to start with the base and the height of the triangle. So I could do something like int base equals 10 and give it whatever value we want. And then int height, let's make it just 5. So I'm making 2 ints with different names and set them to be numbers. Okay, and then area, because we're timesing by half, we definitely could get a decimal, right? So this is not a good example of a decimal, but maybe if I did 3 here, that would be 3 times 5, 15 divided by 2 would be 7.5. So when I do the area, that needs to be a double variable. Do double area, set it equal to base times height times 1/2. Right, and for reasons I don't want to get into right now, I would probably do 0.5 instead of 1/2. If you do it this way, Java actually will treat this as 0, which is a little bit beyond the scope of this lesson, but you could also just divide by 2 or times by 0.5. Okay, and then I'm going to print it out. So I'm going to say the area is, and then the area variable. So this will take this string sentence here and then append to the actual area variable. Okay, so if we go boom and run it, we get the area of 7.5. Okay, and kind of the cool part about this again is you can just change it. Now let's say we have a base of 30, boom, you can hit run code again. Now it's 75. And so you could do your geometry homework really fast by just typing in the different bases and heights, hitting go and printing out the area. Okay, so you can see that the use of variables is once you get good at them, you can start to do some more complex things, like calculate the area of a triangle. All right, that's it for today's lesson. The only other thing really to work on today is if you had time, you could work on some of the programming exercises, but they're not due till the end of the chapter, so you got some time. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.